It's December 2005, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Yeah. And I'm staying in a hotel in Dartmouth because it's the halfway mark of my Canada World Youth Program. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's this exchange program where the government pays for you to live in a small town in another province that you're not from, with people from all over Canada, with another group of people from a developing country. In this case, it was Cuba. And I just spent this past 3 months living in Amherst, Nova Scotia, and doing lots of fun team-building activities, volunteer work. I'd also been spending a lot of that time being chauffeured around in the back of a minivan to different events that often serve cake. So after 3 months of that, at this point, I'm a little bit on the chubby side. And this is our first day in Dartmouth. We're spending 3 days here doing debriefing activities before we go on to the next stage in Cuba. And it's not just our group, there's 2 other groups. They're doing the same program. It's Eastern Canada. So the other 2 groups were in different cities in PEI. We were in Nova Scotia, and we all came together. And we were doing these activities where, you choose a feather that best represents your feelings of the last 3 months. And you paint a picture about what you think the future might be like, and then we all talk about it for 45 minutes. And I was excited to be in Dartmouth because I had some friends in Halifax who were in the first year of King's College, and just across the Bay, Harbour, I don't know which one. And I had a friend who's from Toronto in one of the other programs who was also in Dartmouth, and we made this plan where right after this, the debriefing on this first day, we would meet up and take the ferry to Halifax and visit our friends. But they made it very clear to us that the first thing we had to do after the debriefing was go back to the hotel and take all of our stuff, which was in one room, and put it in our own rooms to clear up that room. And they said, it's really important to do. So being the person I am, after the debriefing stage, I went right back to the hotel, and I took my stuff to my room, and I started looking for my friend Kit, the other guy in the delegation. Now, what you need to know about Kit and the difference between Kit and I is Kit was certainly a lot cooler than I was. For example, to celebrate his going away on this program, he threw this massive, epic backyard party where he performed with this rap group, and everyone came. And for my celebration to go on this adventure, I attended his party. We're in a different kind of strata, but I figured we'd made this plan. We'd stick to it, but the rules don't always apply to the cool kids, because it seems like Kit had just gone straight from the convention center, or the community center, where we did the debriefing, straight to Halifax, because I couldn't find him anywhere. And I started looking for him, I started asking around, and he's nowhere to be found. And we had this curfew of 10, and it's coming up on 7 now. And the smart thing to do at this point is just cut my losses, realize Kit has gone without me, and take my own transportation to Halifax and meet him there. That would be the same thing to do, right? But what you need to know about me at this point, when I'm 18, is I'm a bit of an emotional kid at this point. For example, case in point, about 2 months earlier, 2.5, early on in the program, we had a break in between 2 things. I'm just fresh out of summer camp, and I try to convince everyone, hey, let's all play tag, And they're like, I guess. I'm like, no, let's do it. It'll be super fun and crazy. And they're like, oh, okay. And they put their feet in the circle. And when King Counter gets to me, and I'm not it, I get up and say, haha, you're never going to catch me. I turn around, and I immediately get struck by a vehicle. I mean, it's not as bad as it could have been. It just kind of ran over my feet, and I went on top of the hood. But what really got me was just the embarrassment. I mean, of not only just being hit by a car, but that I had, gotten everyone to play tag and then got hit by a car. That seemed way worse. And I was such an emotional kid that a good, 45 minutes later, one of the girls in the group, discreetly, turned to me and was like, hey, that looked pretty rough. Are you okay? And I turned to her and I said, you shut the fuck up and don't talk to me. And I couldn't even, just anger out of embarrassment. So that's what's happening right now when I can't find Kit. I'm just getting into that state and I'm getting really worked up and I'm asking around and, he's clearly gone, but I can't quite accept it. And the idea of taking the ferry by myself is too much to handle, so I'm trying to get other people to go with me, but they have no reason to go to Halifax and they're, they're all just dragging their feet and they say maybe. I'm like, eventually, whatever guys, I'll just meet you in the lobby, I'll meet you in front of the hotel, you guys decide. And I'm just so worked up and I go to the stairs and I go down all the stairs just peeking, right? Just totally worked up, and then I blast through the door. It's one-way exit out into the street, and it's dark out because it's December and it's 7:14, and right when I open that door and I burst out with all this emotion and just hurt, I see 40 feet away, just still in front of the hotel, I see this guy breaking the back window of a car and pulling out a laptop, and time just slowed down. And all of my hurt and my embarrassment and my pain just focused on this one guy. I wasn't going to let him get away with this, no way. And so, this is all in just one moment. I decide I need to take action. And how I decide to do that is I say, hey, that's not yours. And he turns at me and he looks at me and I look at him and he just starts running. And I start running after him. And I gotta be honest, I didn't ever really, bridge that gap. I never really got any closer. A lot of it was to do with all the cake I'd been eating in the last 2 days. But what really didn't help is I just turned into this Supercop character, and I was really committed to the character, so the entire time I'm running behind him, I'm just yelling crazy shit at him. He's going, you're not gonna get away with this, motherfucker! I'm gonna get you! You better keep running! Oh, if I get you, you're dead, motherfucker! Oh yeah! And just really, the craziest shit, just running after him, just jiggling. He's got this laptop. This street we're on dead ends in this big, it's this double block parking lot, open parking lot, and he runs through it, and I'm still yelling crazy stuff. And he takes a left onto this main street in downtown Dartmouth, and he's kind of getting away from me, and I see this one person, and I turn to them and I say something like, hey, you stole a laptop, you call the cops, and I keep going, and that didn't work, and so there's this old couple, they're probably in their 70s or 80s, and I was I need to tell them what's going on, they need the help. And so I paused just a little bit longer, and I passed them, and I said, he stole a laptop, you call the police. And they seemed really confused, and I didn't know it was confusing about being deputized. I think that's pretty clear what the role should be. But they weren't helping. And then then we get to the top of the street, and he turns left, and he turns left back into the top of this big parking lot. When I get to the top of the parking lot, he's gone, and there's no trace of him. And I'm pretty sure I saw a tumbleweed just going across. And I'm looking around, and now I think, you know what? Now is not the time to be a hero. And I was looking at this dumpster too, thinking maybe he's in there, but I'm no, I got to do the right thing, be responsible. And so what that meant to me at that time was going in to a restaurant that backed in onto the parking lot, but instead of going around to the front, I just went in to the back of the restaurant. And I walked into the back of this pizza place, through the kitchen, and they're making pizzas. And I was oh, it's official police business. I need to go to the user telephone. And they're they don't know what to do. And I end up, behind the cash at this pizza place, and I interrupt this guy, ordering his Hawaiian slice. I was sorry, I need to use the phone here there's been a laptop stolen. I need to call the police. And And luckily, the guy who runs the pizza place didn't just kick me out. He let me call the cops, and the cops say they're going to send someone, and they're going to meet me in front of the hotel. So I thank them, for their cooperation. And I go back to the hotel, and now some of those people who are going to meet me to take the ferry were there. And asked me what's going on. I was like, I can't talk about it quite yet, to get to the bottom of this. And this cop shows up, and I don't know if they did this on purpose, just to be funny, but they sent this cop that had just the exact opposite energy of what I had. I'm just so animated and excited, and I'm using phrases and at which point the suspect, trying to just really say what's going on, but he has seen it all before. She doesn't give a shit about what I'm saying with this, laptop. Who cares? It's Dartmouth. And she's just, nodding along and be like, and you say you pursued the individual. And, I figured that was it. And so I'd given my report, and I meet up with people from my program who said they're going to take the ferry, and we start walking down to the ferry docks, which is taking a right at the end of the street instead of going straight through that parking lot. And I start telling them a story, but then when we go a little bit further down the parking lot, I notice there's a parking attendant booth, one of those plywood booths, where this guy takes the money, and I think maybe he knows something. So I'm like, you guys go on without me, don't worry. And I go to the booth, and I start talking with the guy, and he's like, yeah, I saw that guy, and I saw him run through, but he didn't have a laptop. And I think that's kind of amazing to notice what someone doesn't have. That's pretty special that this guy was working that day. So I'm thinking now, he gets the laptop, and I'm thinking about that dumpster, right, that I'd first seen, and maybe he's still in there with a knife. And I start walking back up through the parking lot, and before I get to the dumpster, there's this woman who's about to get into her car, and she's just kind of looking strangely at the ground for a second, and I just come up out of nowhere, and I go, excuse me, ma'am, is there a laptop under your car? She goes, I think there is. And there it is in the case, and I don't want to tamper with the evidence, so I tell her to stay there, and I go get the cop, and the cop comes and gets the laptop, because, fingerprints. And, the cop is so annoyed that I made her walk, and then we get back, and the woman whose car it was had shown up at this point. There's broken glass, and there's a bit of a crowd, and the cop is just debriefing her without a feather on what had happened, and I'm just waiting on the edge of this crowd for this moment. I don't know if I was conscious of what I was waiting for at the time, but it's pretty obvious now, because I was just waiting for the moment when the cop said, and this is the young man who helped get your laptop back. And before she finished the sentence, I just went, no need to thank me! And just took off. And then I went down to the ferry docks. I took the ferry by myself, and there was no time anymore to do anything, but it didn't matter, right? And I took the ferry across to Halifax, and I ran all the way to the King's campus in my jacket, and I just showed up all sweaty. And my friends were there, and Kit was there. I didn't even care that he took off without me because I had this cool story now. And then we had to go because of curfew. And I don't know. I was so proud of myself, and I continue to be. And over the next couple days, I'd tell anyone who would listen the story. And then before we had a couple more days of debriefing, and then before we flew to Cuba, we had a extended layover in Montreal, and my girlfriend at the time was going to McGill, and we'd sort of been estranged because I'd been at this program, and we were planning on meeting up at the airport. So I call her from the Halifax airport for just to make the plans, and then I get into the story, and I tell her everything, and I'm way more animated than I am during this because it just happened, and I'm so proud of myself, and I get through it, and then there's just silence on the other end of the phone, just for a second, and I don't know if that's, like, I don't know if I was confused by the silence just because she didn't say anything, or just thought maybe, like, her realizing she needed to have my baby in her right then would just be a silent thought, But then she broke the silence with just this sigh, and she just went, "You're an idiot." And it hurt. And she just, went through all the ways I could have gotten hurt, and all the things I might have done, left it to trained professionals that I didn't do, and just broke it down how foolish this was. And I kind of agree with her. I've told this story a million times. It's like my favorite story because it's so insane. And I always make fun of myself, right? I make myself out to be this just rash fool, because that's what I was. But at the same time, I can't help feeling a certain amount of pride somewhere for my actions that day, because I'm a really indecisive person. I live with so many sort of filters, like self-consciousness and anxiety, and I still do. But at that time, all that shit just melted away, and I didn't overthink the situation, and I chased that guy down, and I got that fucking laptop back. I think that's the end. Thank you.